Have you ever felt like you were meant for something more? Like there's a deeper purpose for your life, but no one else seems to understand? Throughout the Bible, we see that many of God's chosen ones experience this same feeling. They were marked for a higher calling, yet they faced isolation, hardship, and moments of doubt. But one thing was certain: despite all the struggles, they were unstoppable. Not because of their own strength or abilities, but because God had a plan for them, and His favor rested on them. In today's video, we're going to explore 5 things that only happen to the chosen ones, those who have a divine purpose and a supernatural calling. Let's dive in. Number 1. The burden of isolation. When you're chosen, you walk alone. One of the first things that happens when you're chosen by God is a deep sense of isolation. You might feel disconnected from others, like you're walking a path that no one else can understand. The chosen often find themselves alone, not just physically, but spiritually. This isn't a punishment, though, it's part of God's refining process. Look at Joseph, who was sold into slavery and thrown into prison. Or Moses, who spent years in the desert before he was called to lead Israel. This time of isolation was God's way of preparing them for the extraordinary task ahead. If you've ever felt alone in your journey, know this: sometimes, isolation is where God shapes you the most. Number 2. The uncommon favor of God and man. Favor that opens doors and breaks barriers. Another sign that you're chosen is the supernatural favor you experience, not just with God, but with people, too. This favor isn't about being liked or respected for your own abilities. It's something deeper. It's when God orchestrates circumstances and relationships that propel you forward, even when you don't fully understand why. Think about Daniel, who found favor with the king even in a foreign land. Or Esther, who was placed in a position to save her people. This kind of favor can't be explained by natural means. It's the work of God's hand in your life, making a way where there seems to be no way. Number 3. Dreams and visions of destiny. When your life feels like a preordained story, the chosen ones often receive dreams and visions that give them a glimpse of the destiny. These aren't just random thoughts or fantasies. They are divine insights into the future God has planned for them. Joseph had dreams of his family bowing down to him, which seemed impossible at the time, but they were a glimpse into what God had in store. Maybe you've experienced this, a moment when something feels strangely familiar, like you've seen it before. When you're chosen, your life starts to feel like it's unfolding according to a divine script. And while others may not understand your vision, God uses these glimpses to guide you toward your purpose. Number 4. A new level of spiritual discernment. Seeing and hearing what others can't. As you walk in your calling, your spiritual discernment will go to a whole new level. You'll start seeing, hearing, and sensing things that others don't. This isn't just about natural wisdom. It's a supernatural ability to understand the world around you from a heavenly perspective. Elijah could hear God's voice in the stillness of the desert, and Jesus could discern people's hearts even when they didn't speak. When you're chosen, your ability to see and hear with spiritual eyes becomes sharper. This might feel like a burden at times, as you begin to see things others can't, but it's a gift that helps you navigate your path with greater clarity and purpose. Number 5. The unstoppable calling. Strength beyond natural ability. Finally, when you're chosen, there's an unstoppable strength that comes upon you. It's not about your own might or ability, but about the power of God working through you. Think about David, a young shepherd boy who defeated a giant with just a sling and a stone. Or Esther, who risked her life to save her people. These men and women were not extraordinary in their own strength, they were ordinary people empowered by God's presence. When you're chosen, the obstacles may seem insurmountable, but because of God's power, you become unstoppable. You can't be held back, not because of your own strength, but because of the divine calling on your life. In conclusion, so, If you feel like you're walking a lonely road or facing obstacles that seem impossible, take heart. You might just be one of God's chosen. The road isn't easy, but it's worth it. His favor, His calling, His strength, these things are what make you unstoppable. Remember, the chosen ones aren't defined by their struggles, but by the divine purpose that propels them forward. And just like those who came before you, your journey is part of a bigger story that God is writing for your life. Keep pressing forward. You are chosen, and your destiny is waiting.